كتاب الله دستوري وخير الخلق أسوتنا بسنته.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just a reminder to myself first and foremost, and then to my brothers and sisters. What I want to do is actually point out an attitude that many of us have before entering the month of Ramadan, which we're quite oblivious about, or we haven't admitted to ourselves that this is actually the case. And this is quite common with a lot of people. So the attitude that I'm talking about is going into the month of Ramadan, knowing that you have a recurring bad deed or a habit or anything that sort of takes you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His deen and the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This thing prevents you from being a good person, generally speaking, and a good Muslim. And what happens is we go into the month of Ramadan with this, attitude that yes, I'm gonna, fast the whole month, and I'm gonna try to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as possible, and so on. But in the back of our heads, what we normally do is we think, okay, these days are limited and numbered. And this is exactly what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says as well. Ayyaman ma'dudat. He describes them as limited numbered days. And what happens is we go into the month knowing that because they're limited amount of days, straight after Ramadan, we'll go back into those habits or deeds or, being like the way we used to be in terms of, having negative characteristics and so on. And this is a very, very bad attitude to have. Going into the month of Ramadan, if you're going in thinking that, okay, I'm just going to do whatever I need to do for the month and then come out of it and, just resume back to the way I used to be, who are you trying to fool? If you think about it, who are you really trying to fool? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need your fasting. He doesn't need you to leave your drinking and your eating and so on. What Allah really wants you to do in this month is to get closer to Him, to attain taqwa. In other words, to become more and more conscious of Him and become closer to Him. And thinking about Him prevents you from doing things that are displeasing to Him, and by extension, bad for yourself as a human being. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. Fasting, as in leaving off drinking and eating, is just a means of doing that. It's not the essence of it. When we leave off our drinking, when we leave off our eating, all we're doing is reducing ourselves or humbling ourselves so that we can find it easier to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His favors upon us, and do what we need to do in order to become better believers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and followers of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's it. And a lot of us haven't admitted to ourselves, or they don't even think about the fact that we have this attitude. You'll find that in the middle of the month, we're waiting for the last 10 days, and then as soon as the last 10 days are over, not even as soon as the last 10 days are over, before the last 10 days are over, you'll find that slowly we're getting back into the habits that we used to be in before Ramadan. That's really bad. What we need to do is have a firm intention before going into this month. And we need to really have a plan and accept that this is something bad that I do, or this is something that's pulling me away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but I need to get rid of it completely until the day I die. I want to say one last thing on this, brothers and sisters. Imagine a person who has some sort of bad deed. It could be, drinking alcohol or smoking drugs, wherever it is that brings him satisfaction or some sort of joy doing in this world. And he dies quitting this habit He stands before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks him, what did you do for me in your life? And he says, Ya Allah, there was this habit that I had that was bad, yet it used to bring me some sort of satisfaction and some sort of joy. And I did it in this dunya. But after knowing that it displeases you, I quit that habit. And I did it only for your sake and for your pleasure. And all I want from that is to be closer to you and for you to be pleased with me. Imagine putting yourself in that person's position. How it would feel to actually say that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine the rewards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have for you for doing something out of sincerity like that for Him. Even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it a rule for you not to do it in the first place. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in need of you not of giving this habit up. You know, where you fail in one area, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring probably 10 people more to do the same thing that He wanted you to do. Yet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very courteous towards His slaves. Imagine the rewards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have for you.
الوفاء بشتى الصور أحب الوفي الأمين الأغر فأهل الوفاء كلون